Together these heats results, and then he ends up with a sort of insurmountable lead. You keep scoring points in the semis, don't you? So
you do.
I think he's got momentum.
Well, Lewis Manley obviously will want to win 3. That does give him an awful lot of points. There is Lewis Manley in the red suit on the screen, and by scoring lots of points, it does make his semi-final that little bit easier from a view of getting through to the final. He's not going to be the only one to get 3 wins though, because Ruben Boutins has done that already, and however, Patryk Nieroda is definitely going to want to be at the front of this race. He, of course, is at fastest, Nieroda, but he's got Lewis Manley right behind him. And what can we say about that? That's going to be quite a tough scrap, I think.
I am looking forward to this. And the thing is, you know that Manley will have a go.
Oh, definitely. It's Lewis Manley. He's going to have a go, that's for sure. As we come around now, we've got Patryk Nieroda, who's going to bring them to the start. Now, Nieroda is going to make a good start to this, but he's going to want to be clear of Lewis Manley. He's keeping it really slow, almost too slow. He's accelerating away. He doesn't want any gaps in the pack, or they'll call a false start. No, it is green. The start is good, and Nieroda has got exactly the start he needed. He's got more than a car length between him and Manley, because Manley is going to go on attack immediately if he can. He's not just going to sit there in second. That's not really Lewis Manley's way. There he is in the red suit in second place. They go through. Patryk Nieroda, of course, in the black suit. He was 14th last year, so he just missed out on the final, did Nieroda, but he is a driver of international standing and one of the best here.
Now, Nieroda let out a really, really slow parade lap, to the point that there was drivers stopped on that final quarter. Stoddart got hit up the back by Llewellyn, and then by the time they actually did get going, they'd strung out quite a long way before the checkered flag.
Absolutely, well, before the start line, yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry, yeah. The checkered line.
Well, Nieroda will be hoping they're strung out by the checkered flag, that's for sure. But it was the slowest start that we've seen that anyone's actually managed to get a green light on, because as you point out, when the pole man is very slow, the ones at the back are practically stopped. It does create gaps, and the organisers, they've already called a few bad starts. So Nieroda just about got away with that, but he did need to try and make it slow so that he could accelerate and outfox Manley, create a little bit of a gap on their opening lap, because Manley was clearly going to have a punt down the inside on that hairpin in the distance.
And if any of the drivers are listening, if you win your race, do come and have a chat with me. No one wanted to talk to me on that last race. It reminded me of school, and I felt very sad.
Spanners, you've got to go and grab them. All they want to do is get up there and get some of this Formula Fast pizza.
They said no.
Make them talk.
Speaking to you, Spanners. It's too early.
Make them talk.
Make them talk. That went sinister quickly. Okay.
Exactly. Just grab them and make them speak. Shove the microphone in there. That's the way to do it. Talking of shoving things in there, Lewis Manley is now really pressuring second place, 0.3 of a second. And what do you say about that, Spanners?
Yep, it's looking tough for Nieroda at the moment. He doesn't want to get backed up. He doesn't want to let King into that battle, that's for sure. Maybe the two of them have come to that finger-wagging agreement where they just get out there and make a lead up front.
Well, so far we've seen in this tournament that Patryk Nieroda, if anyone was going to be making any kind of agreement with him, he's going to be the first one to break it. And I'm not sure Lewis Manley works on agreements. He's very much a one-driver outfit, is Lewis Manley, and he's racing with the Formula Fast Locals team. But I think from his point of view, it's more he's scoring points for the Formula Fast Locals team. I'm not sure there's any sort of teamwork involved there. But he is keeping Nieroda under immense pressure there. And Nieroda, of course, will be respecting Lewis Manley as a major contender. Nieroda is an international driver. Lewis Manley only races here, but such is Lewis Manley's performances and results over the years that at the Brkc, Lewis Manley is clearly regarded by everyone as a danger man.
Now, Ozanne has come in. He was behind this three-way battle between West, Duma and Ozanne, and I did wonder if one of them was going to want to pop out, because Duma is being quite aggressive at the back of West there. I think Ozanne's probably made a smart move. He's gone, those two are going to be slowing each other up. He's going to get out of the way, and it's come out nicely on his own. It's going to be a long time before he gets up to the back of Stoddart and Llewellyn, so he's got some clear air.
Absolutely. Paul Ozanne, of course, very interesting driver. He He was one of the best of British 30 years ago, and
What?
Ozanne
How old
really
is he?
was a star. Yeah, well, he's about my age. And
That's
into the
too
pits,
old.
it's Rob Duma. Rob Duma's into the pits. One of the Polish hopes there. He was a former speedway rider, been taken to karting. He has won at BRKC level, and Rob Duma exits the pits there. Let's have a look and see what sort of lap time.
Well, he's out ahead
done.
of Ozanne. I think that was what he was trying to cover off. And now there's a gap between them where West would have been sitting, I think.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 second gap between Duma and Ozanne as they cross the line. That may have come down because Duma would have still been speeding up.
Right, so West was ahead of both of those two. So
yeah, and obviously if you were West, you probably wouldn't bother pitting for a while yet, would you? So there's no reason for Matt West to really come into the pits. There's no one in front of him, no one behind him.
now then, Stoddart has got himself a little bit of a battle as well. He's managed to stay quite close to Parker. Parker's not getting away, so we'll watch that one develop. And in fact, Stoddart's had a great series of turns through the slow section and might be challenging him down the back straight.
Yeah, Dwayne Stoddart's really come alive in the sort of later recent heat races of this tournament. The last couple of years he's been running pretty much at the back, it has to be said. He's finished in the 90th places overall out of 100. He's finished in the 80th places overall out of 100. This time he said his target was to be in the 70th place, and he's doing the kind of performances and getting the kind of points that could well put him in the 70s, may even exceed his own expectations and be up there in the 60s in terms of positions. Now, there's people saying, oh yeah, well who cares about 60th out of 100? We are talking the British Rental Car Championship, and it has to be said with the BRKC, everybody is a very competitive driver. You take anyone, even someone running last, put them out amongst a bunch of regular people on a regular, individual kart circuit, they're going to shine. It's just here you're talking about some of the world's best.
Now then, see, I put myself as somebody who would maybe win at a stag do or at the work office karting outing, which I often have done. And I've gone out on track with these guys. Last year as well, they put me out in one of the practice sessions, and I'm a good second and a half off even the back of the grids. And I don't think I'm slow, but clearly compared to this lot, I am.
It's deceptively tough. That's the thing there, Spanish. You're dealing. Sometimes we haven't even heard of people, and yet we look at their CV. They're running 9, 10, and they're the champion of this, champion of that, and it just goes on. So you're probably doing well to be that close to him, mate.
Stoddart has come in. He's decided he's had enough of.
Yeah, Dwayne Stoddart's come in the pits now, so that pulled him out of 7th. He's dropped behind Duma and Ozanne. In fact, 3 seconds behind Ozanne, so he's not really in contention with him. It's dropped him to 9th. But there are some more pit stops to come from those ahead. Looking up now, we can see that we've still got Nieroda in the lead. He's 0.4 of a second ahead of Manley. But look at that. Stephen King, is up to 3rd place. Now, King was not somebody that we'd really looked that closely at until about a year ago. And incredibly, in the summer, he came 3rd in the BRKC O-Plate down at South Coast Karting in Bournemouth. So really moving forward there, and it's shown this
big battle on the exit. Has Stoddart managed to get ahead of Parker? He's managed to jump Parker in the pits. So he's read that completely right. He said, no, I'm a little faster than Parker. He's managed to do him in the pit stops, and now he is up to, I think, a net 7th.
Yeah, and Dwayne Stoddart, his personal ambitions of sort of being 10 places higher, shall we say, in the championship this year to what he's been before, well, that's come to fruition. He's doing all the right things. He's making all the right moves in order to achieve that particular ambition. There is Nieroda, whose ambition is to actually win the championship, and Patryk Nieroda, his ambitions are looking good for that kind of thing by leading the race and possibly winning. Lewis Manley, though, keep me honest. Now, if you're managing to stay ahead of Lewis Manley, it has to be said that you must be doing a pretty good job, right?
And it's not bumper to bumper at the moment. Nieroda's not having to go defensive down the back straight. He's still running his own laps, and they're disappearing away from King. That gap was 3 something not so long ago. Now it's 4.4. See how I'm using the wheel timings and not Mississippi's? I'm pandering to you. But at the moment, Lewis Manley, he's not sticking his nose in. He's not forcing Nieroda to do anything different. They seem quite content to break away that gap. But if you're Lewis Manley and you've had a 1st place and a 1st place, 2nd place is not a disaster. He doesn't have to make a risky move. He doesn't have to risk a penalty. He can go back to round 4 pretty content, even if he comes in 2nd.
Absolutely. Well, It's looking good here because we've now got spanners in the 21st century. We've got Nieroda in the lead and Lewis Manley in second place. And as you rightly point out, Manley, second place for him would be great from a points point of view. Lewis Manley, though, is he's quite particular about his results, and unless it's first place and a good first place, he tends to turn a little bit self-critical. He's going to be looking at Nieroda and thinking in terms of where he can pass him. Lewis Manley. When he first started in the BRKC, he was, he's a local man, he's from here in Milton Keynes. And Lewis Manley, when he first started, wasn't brilliant technically, or strategically, should we say, and was really relying on just out-and-out speed around this track to get the job done. But he has really come of age from a strategic point of view. Now, he's going to have to get past this back marker here. Yes, he makes the move. He's got it done cleanly as well. So Lewis Manley managed to stay with Nieroda. The gap's still 0.3 of a second.
Well, actually, it was more than stay with, because Nieroda had to sacrifice his line going into the turn at the end of the back straight, whereas Manley was able to take his normal racing line. One thing here with the back markers, the blue flags are respected nearly universally. A lot of respect amongst the drivers all the way up and down the field.
Absolutely, and it does also show in the standard that there are almost no accidents.
Absolutely.
When you think of an indoor kart track, the marshals are constantly pulling people out of the barrier,
yes,
aren't they?
Yes,
and here at BRKC, the standard is so high that almost, when someone so much as touches the wall, we talk as if they've torn four wheels off, don't we?
Yeah, especially like when people are taking chunks out of the apexes in the corners. That's about as far as we've got. In fact, wasn't it yesterday with the young Dutchman Pamelin, and when he hit the barrier on the exit of turn 3, that was quite the event. That was quite a notable thing.
And it was actually quite notable.
It was a big shunt.
In his battle with Matt Barsh, Van Pamelin ended up basically being stuffed head on into one of the pillars. He still managed to come through and win somehow, but I think being shoved head on into one of the pillars probably makes that win even more unlikely, doesn't it?
Best BRKC Facebook comment from yesterday was Bradley Philpott saying, I didn't have a great day, but Matt Barsh also had a bad day, so I guess that's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's savage, isn't it? Well, Philpott, of course, can get away with saying anything like that because, of course, he is the organiser. Start saying that the other way round, and you may find your entry is delayed, shall we say? Your entry may be delayed.
Point, yeah. And we have to say he's got perfect pit stops, or we won't get this gig next year.
Well, absolutely. I think he's been doing a great job, don't you?
Amazing performance from Philpott.
Yes. Actually, in real terms, his final race yesterday was an amazing performance when he came back up from 10th into that 5th place, wasn't it? Swapped carts as well, so really on the back foot. What we're looking at now, though, on screen, an incredible battle and really heating up now. Oh, and look at Ozanne. It's Ozanne on Rob Duma. So Rob Duma, the Polish driver, trying to stay ahead of Ozanne. Both of these guys, absolute vast experience in motorsport. Rob Duma, former Speedway rider, and if you're in Poland and you're a Speedway rider and you're racing for your city's team, that's a pretty good level of being a Speedway rider. They really do their Speedway over there.
Is that the one where it's bikes, which are insane
bikes on
anyway,
dirt,
and then you do it just not even on the road or anything?
Well, they do it on dirt, and it's a dirt oval. It's also, remember, those bikes, they don't have brakes.
I can think of better ways
to spend my day. They have a clutch and no brakes. So Rob Duma has spent many years racing at high level on a motorcycle with no brakes, and he's staying ahead of Paul Ozanne, who has vast karting experience.
I'm judging him, frankly. That is a poor hobby choice.
A poor hobby choice.
Jigsaws would be better.
Well, at least with the karting, he's now got a brake, at least. If it is only to the rear wheel.
And the correct amount of wheels on the ground.
And the correct amount of wheels. He is in 5th place there. That's Duma in the red, and Ozanne behind him is in the white. In the pits it's King.
Yeah, I don't think King is going to come out in any kind of traffic. He was also running around on his own, so this is a case.
King is like talking to the lights there, isn't he?
I know, he's going, come on, lights, change. He definitely went too early and had to stop again, but I think that was more a case of getting out of the way. But actually, he's a lot closer to Duma and Ozanne than he'd have wanted to be, so he can't afford to slip up or lose concentration.
No, it was an 11.5 second stop, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, really, in the scheme of things. But we have been seeing some increasingly fast stops. So, obviously, Stephen King, he's done enough, though, to stay ahead of the Duma-Ozanne battle, because that's not really something you'd want to be part of. Now, Matt West, I don't believe he stopped, has he?
Now, who is it you said was about your age? Ozanne?
Ozanne.
Is he the oldest driver here? And what is your age?
Well, my age is 48, and Ozanne, I don't know exactly. Well, no, I'm glad about that. And into the pits comes Manley. Into the pits comes Lewis Manley, the 2nd place driver.
Yep, he seems to have timed that all right as well, so he's coming up to the second set of lights now. He's left himself a bit of room to judge it. It looks like he's nailed that. Not the cleanest getaway, maybe got slightly bogged down. Now we see if Nieroda fancies himself on lap times. I don't know, I'm going to fancy Manley if this goes on for any length of time without Nieroda coming in.
Well, he's really thrown down the gauntlet to Patryk Nieroda there. It was just about 10.2 seconds on the pit stop. So an amazing stop by Lewis Manley. He's done everything he needs to force Nieroda, and Nieroda's in the pits. Yeah. What's Nieroda's response going to be? He's trying to cut those lights. He's got away with it. You can see the reflection of the green. Oh, this is tight. That was very good. What a pit stop there. Surely Patryk Nieroda. Oh, that was amazing. Bang on 10 seconds that Patryk Nieroda amazingly has made a faster pit stop than Lewis Manley, and it shows in the times. He's got he had a 1 second lead across the line because he had no momentum. Lewis Manley's back where he was, which is right behind Patryk Nieroda. That couldn't have been cut finer, Spanners, that really couldn't.
Now, looking at Manley's stop, he looked like he did everything right, but for whatever reason, he looked bogged down on the exit. He just didn't seem to get picked up and get away cleanly, whereas everything went right for Nieroda still.
Yeah, I think what happened there as well, a lot of it, as you say, was visual about what he looked like.
Yeah.
And I think that was because Nieroda, in that sort of stop box, shall we say, there were 2 stop boxes, Nieroda's actually stopping slightly earlier than Manley, so he's got a little bit more momentum. If you notice, Nieroda was clearly moving way before the green. I know Manley was, but Nieroda was like properly underway, and we're still seeing the red light showing, and then it's going green. So it's a risky move by Nieroda, but you get it right and you get that kind of pit stop that keeps you in the lead ahead of Lewis Manley. Now, there are 5 minutes to go. Lewis Manley, if he wants to win this race, is going to have to do something about Nieroda on track. Pit stops no longer an option. Of course, we've just seen them pit. So where would it be for Manley? And do you reckon he might even have to sit behind Nieroda? He's got 2 wins in the bag already. Lewis Manley's going to want to make it 3. It will make his semi-final ever easier, but if he can do it, he'll try.
If you look on the screen now, the kart language of the 2 drivers has changed from before the pit stop. Because before the pit stop, Manley's thinking he can do something in the pits. Now that option is no longer there. He's a lot closer to the bumper, and Nieroda was having to go defensive down the back straight. So that's the difference now. Now we are looking at a driver who wants to get past.
And it's a real sign of the class of these drivers that Patryk Nieroda can be defensive and still be setting time. But fastest one on the track at the moment is Lewis Manley, and Lewis Manley's close than ever. Nieroda to the left, Manley to the right. They turn in, Nieroda's got the inside, but will Manley manage to cut back under him? We're looking at Duma and Ozanne, but Manley has not managed to make it stick. He is behind Nieroda, but definitely has got Nieroda rattled. Nieroda is having to go defensive. It doesn't matter about them losing time, but you can see Nieroda is to the inside on nearly every corner. He's really worried about Manley taking a punt at him. Of course, he'll only know Lewis Manley from racing here, and that means he knows Lewis Manley knows this track like the back of his hand.
It's definitely coming. I can't see it not.
Well, this time they've taken a normal line down the backstretch. Nieroda not expecting anything from Manley there. Manley's close than ever, 0.2 of a second across the line last time. It's going to be the same this time. Nieroda having a quick glance over his shoulder to see where Manley is or isn't, and Nieroda does look like he's got this one covered. It's hard to see where a move from Manley could come. Manley sort of had a little look in all the logical places. Nieroda's not going to give anything away, and the question is Manley just going to go for the outrageous lunge, or is he going to settle for second?
Well, can Manley do enough to force Nieroda to make a mistake somewhere?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Nieroda can be forced into a mistake mentally. He's very strong, he's very experienced and very good. So I don't think Manley will be able to actually pressure Patryk Nieroda into some kind of error. But he may end up tackling him. Who's the 11? It's Matt West. That's the stop we've been looking for, because this is what Stephen King's waiting for. Stephen King may move up to 3rd place. Matt West, this is a great showing by him. And but he's dropped down behind the Duma and Ozanne battle. Matt West has dropped back to 4th. He could have done with some faster laps going into that pit stop, but he's come out just behind the Duma and Ozanne battle. That could make it a 3-way fight for position, which is 4th.
Yeah, I don't think West ever quite had the window to do it in the end. So in the end, I think it's a case of, well, you have to make the pit stop eventually.
Yeah, we've only got 2 and a bit minutes remaining. So yeah, I think you're right there, Spanners. West, he was trying his very best to create a gap and just couldn't do it. Well, actually, he's actually away from the battles of Duma and Ozanne anyway.
One last roll of the dice. Can Matthew Park
Yeah.
Making nuisance of himself here. I doubt it, because people are very good with the blue flags, but that's the last obstacle in Nieroda's way now.
Yeah, and Matt Parker, he's already waved them through, actually. He's waved them both through. He's seen them both. And gosh, he almost comes to start. That's the most gentlemanly bit of driving we've seen from any one of the back markers. Parker, he's running fast, but he has just waved them through so as not to get involved in the lead fight. It's neither gained nor cost anything for either of the two leaders there. And there's Parker going through behind them. So there's the leader, Nieroda. There is Lewis Manley. We'll probably see the back of Parker down the front backstretch there. There's Parker just looking over his shoulder. And it's still Nieroda with 1 minute 20 to go. Nieroda in the lead from Lewis Manley. I think that Nieroda's got this one in the bag, although that's a hard thing to say when Lewis Manley is 0.3 of a second behind you. Lewis Manley has got barely a lap or so to go now. What is he going to do about Patryk Nieroda? I think he's exhausted all options. I think Lewis Manley is going to be forced into second place. It's a very strong second place, but Patryk Nieroda really, really tough up at the front. He's looking over his shoulder. He's holding that middle line there so that he's ready to cover anything that Lewis Manley throws to him. That's that long backstretch. Long backstretch. We've seen some big lunges. Lewis Manley, whoa, had a look towards the inside in the final hairpin, so Lewis Manley's not giving up. Lewis Manley has now been confirmed in second. They've thrown the checker with just over half a minute to go. Lewis Manley has been held to second. Patryk Nieroda wins. Lewis Manley second, and Stephen King is third. So Stephen King, a great showing by him. Rob Duma is going to be fourth. Yes, he was. It was across the line, almost side by side with Paul Ozanne in their battle over fourth. West has come through in sixth place. Dwayne Stoddart, an excellent. Is that seventh or eighth? I think it is actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Seventh. Dwayne Stoddart is seventh. Parker eighth, and Llewellyn in ninth. So Dwayne Stoddart's got the kind of points he needs, but what a win there by Patryk Nieroda. Nieroda is coming to a halt there at the front. There's the number 8, that's Parker. He was a lap down. There's Stephen King in the 13 with the purple helmet. So Nieroda getting out of the car up at the front. There's Lewis Manley in the red suit. Lewis Manley, he did everything he could do to get second. There won't have been much more. There's Spanners down in the pits, and so Spanners is talking to Patryk Nieroda, and we're going to be going over to Spanners in the pits in 1 second.
Yeah? Am I live? Oh, hello. I didn't realise I was live. I'm here with race winner Patryk Nieroda. Easy. Were you ever worried?
Yeah, a little bit. Lewis was very fast, but I've got a little bit better car, so I've got very good qualification lap, so I beat him.
Obviously, I think in the first phase, before the pit stops, he was quite happy to sit behind you, but you did a cracking stop.
I want to go very slow because I know that it's very hard to be quiet, I don't know, and start very fast then.
You wanted to make sure you got a nice solid stop in. Very good race win, congratulations, well done. Not an easy task to keep this man behind you. Good handshake there. Lewis, only second place, but I have to say, you were right on his tail. Disappointing not to make that pit stop work.
Wanted to try the undercut. I just wanted to see if it worked or not, but I gathered, I just knew he would come in straight away. So, but obviously down the straight, my quality lap, had a bit of oversteering, which cost me the pole lap. So, nothing I could do to win because I knew he would just defend. But after the alternate layer back onto the normal, he was just pulling away. I just couldn't keep up. Through the corners, I was gaining really good. So I wanted to, after when I tried the undercut, when the others came in, I thought, because it can happen, but obviously not on this occasion. So not too disappointed with second. I've still got good points, so I've got nothing to worry about. So.
Looked like you were a little bogged down on the exit of the pit stop. Did you feel that?
Well, I just wanted to make sure it all went green, so I just wanted to be fractionally more circumspect than the Friday, because that's when you can do as quick as you can, because I can try and do my pit stops to perfection, so got nothing to worry about. Still on 29 points, so I'm still in a very good position, so I'm looking forward to my next race.
Lewis Manley, local favourite, congratulations mate. Good luck in round 4. Can anyone stop him? A first place and a second place, looking real strong for Lewis Manley.
Okay, so an incredible result there by Patryk Nieroda. Patryk Nieroda defeating Lewis Manley, who usually is one of those that we look at as the great British hope. There are quite a few great British hopes here, and this year's a particularly strong year for the British drivers. Basically, Lewis Manley was held into position, second place. He had no answer for Patryk Nieroda, and that is saying something when you're holding Lewis Manley to second place around Formula Fast here at Milton Keynes. So, Lewis Manley there into second place. Stephen King, the driver who came third in the BRKC O plate down at South Coast Karting last year. Stephen King, a great performance by him, the Rickmansworth-based driver. He has come through into third place. Now we're looking ahead to the next heat race. Now this is going to be a very interesting one. There's actually only one non-British driver in this, and it's going to be very interesting to see what result we get, because the drivers, if I read out the entry list here, we've got Ryan Smith, we've got Dan Grocott, we've got Fergal Ludlow, we've got Kyle Power, Simon Cleaver, Jack Bebbington, Aaron Pullen, Andy Meulemeister, the Belgian, one of the Mad Brothers race team drivers, Conor Marsh and Brandon Williams in this race. Now, we saw an amazing performance by Conor Marsh yesterday. He basically won a race driving away from the field. Matti Vrana was forced into a second place that was so far back that Conor Marsh came into the pits